on, fellas? QBot here. We are back, not with an animation this time, but with a review for the Studio Series number 110 Bumblebee movie, Voyager class Shockwave right here, which I found at Target recently, and am very glad that I picked him up because this figure is incredible. We're starting in alt mode because I felt like it. He's got some nice paint apps, some good dry brushing here for some weathering effects on this area, and his thighs, and some other spots probably. Yeah, we got some here. Paint is nice. There's a lot of molded in detail on this figure. If you look at his whole turret here, a lot of it there. Some of it in his legs right here. Now, one thing I don't like that much about this figure is that he just kind of turns into an H-tank, and his transformation is very simple, but he never transformed in the movie, and he never had an official alt mode, so what can you really do about that? This figure is massive. At least his alt mode is. It's way bigger than I thought it was gonna be, so we're gonna go into some size comparisons here in a second. Alright, so our first size comparison here he is next to Studio Series Concept Art Megatron's tank mode, which, like I said, very large this Shockwave is. He is massive in his alt mode. Here he is next to the Siege Sideswipe mold, because I'm convinced that every collector has at some point owned a version of the Siege Sideswipe mold, which Sideswipe already wasn't a big figure, but this is almost like double his length. Here he is next to this McDonald's toy of animated Bumblebee, because he was already on my desk and I felt like it. This Bumblebee is, I mean, tiny, but like still, he's huge. And of course, how could I forget, here he is next to Studio Series Core Class Shockwave. It's kind of funny, their transformation is almost identical. There's a few differences, but like for the most part, their transformations are the same thing. Fun. Anyways, I don't have a whole lot left to say about his alt mode, so we're just gonna get into transformation. If you want to skip that, just go to this timestamp that I am pointing at right now. Hopefully, me in post added it. Get out of there. So first things first, you're going to want to untab this cannon. I don't consider this parts forming because you have the tube connecting it. Flip up this handle thing here, and then push the edge of this turret back in. It's on a double hinge, and then that's it. That's the whole transformation for the turret. Then you want to come to the figure, and you're going to want to turn him around and untab this panel here and just flip it up. This tab here will go into that slot right there. Then what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to come to his legs and untab them from the torso. Those tab in just like right there. You can see that little peg goes into a slot on his legs. You're just going to want to untab that on both sides and then bring up this chest piece, get it out of the way. So you're going to want to come to his legs and just pull them down. They're on a soft ratchet joint there, and that'll fully extend them and get them into place. Then you're going to come to his feet and just flip them out. They should just be tucked back. Then you're going to want to take these tread pieces, pull them out, and then flip them 180, and then push them back in on both legs. And that should be the transformation for his legs done. I'm gonna zoom out a little bit just so you can see what else I'm doing. So you're gonna want to come to his arms, and his arms just tab in right there. There's a tab right here, goes into a slot on his arms. So you're gonna want to untab those. All right, and then you're gonna want to take these big Transformers Prime type intake things here, pull them back. You should his whole torso area should click into place just like that. Lift his head up, and then orient his arms properly. Take this chest piece and just push it up. It should click into place. Just make sure that's all nice and secure like. Take his arms and untab them. There's a tab right there that goes into a little notch in his arms. So just untab those, turn them. That's it for this arm. I forgot the arms are different. Same thing on this arm, except here you're going to want to flip out this panel, pull out his hand, and then push that back up. Now, technically, this side does also have a hand, but I don't know anyone that would actually display their Shockwave like that instead of doing the next step, which is taking his turret arm. There's a tab right there that will tab into this little slot on his arm. So you're just gonna line that up, push it into place, and that should be it for Shockwave's transformation. Now, a lot of the dry brushing that I mentioned earlier does become a lot more apparent in his robot mode. You got around his chest area, around this panel here on his arms. His thighs have some dry brushing as well, coming around his back. Wasn't expecting this to be painted, but that is kind of cool. He has like a spine there. They did include a small detail from a CG model in the movie that I thought was kind of cool. Because a lot of the models on Cybertron were reused from other models, Shockwave being having a lot of Optimus Prime's parts, the feet, some other parts of him, including his arms. So if you come around to this arm, you can see if the camera would focus on that. He has a tiny Autobot logo on his arm that was left over from Optimus Prime's model in the movie. So, thought that was interesting. The camera is not focusing there, which is always a good time. Articulation, his head is, I think, on a ball joint, but it's limited by just the design of his head. He can look up, almost not at all, look down, not at all. His head can swivel around a full 360. His arms, this arm can do a full 360, but the tube kind of gets in the way. You can just undo that and make it go the other way. Arm goes out on a very soft ratchet joint, clicks into place a few times. Elbow bend. This is the part I see a lot of people complain about, and I'm also, I think I'm kind of okay with it now, but I still don't like it. He has no bicep swivel, which it makes sense considering how he transforms, but it's a little annoying still, and that just undid itself. Elbow swivel though, not that that's super useful. Elbow bend. His wrist is on a ball joint, so you do have a swivel there. I guess you could do that, but I don't see what the use of that is. Waist swivel. He can kick up, not the best, still definitely serviceable. He can kick back, also not super far. Knee bend, about 90 degrees. It does click into place very softly there. He does have a thigh swivel and a knee swivel. His feet go up and down, very slight tilt there. More so up and down, and the up and down is for the transformation, but still counts. So articulation is not the worst I've seen on a figure, but it's not great. You know, he can still pose, but, you know, isn't the best. We're gonna go into some more size comparisons here in a second, if the camera would focus. So for our size comparisons, here he is next to Studio Series Concept Art Megatron, who is very slightly taller than him. He's a lot bigger though, so I feel like if they were proportionally the same, Shockwave would be taller, but they're not, so possible review coming soon for this guy. Here he is next to the Siege Sideswipe mold. Very much taller than him. He's big for a Voyager class figure. Like, he is not small for a modern Voyager. Sideswipe is roughly about half his height in robot mode, so there you go. Here he is next to McDonald's Animated Bumblebee's robot mode, who is also tiny. He goes to about halfway up his thigh there in robot mode. And here he is, of course, next to Studio Series Core Class Shockwave. Do not mess with bro's son, Shockwave Jr. right here, you know what I'm saying? And for the size comparison everybody has been waiting for, here he is next to Doodle Bob, because me hoy manoi noi. Anyway, I do think that is just about it for this review. Thank you guys for watching. I would definitely recommend picking this guy up. Really good figure. He does have some hollow parts on his legs and on his arms, but it's not super noticeable, and I don't know anyone that displays their figures from the back like that, so. Good figure. I would say solid 8.5 out of 10. Well worth the roughly $30 US that you're paying for him. Thank you guys for watching. Go pick this figure up. Bye-bye.
Me, Grimlock, say subscribe, like, comment, and share. Or else me, Grimlock, on the bash break.